And welcome to Business Live. Coming up tonight on the program, Ghana ranked among 10 fastest growing economies in the world this year. Also coming up, Bank of Ghana moves to contain expected COVID-19 shocks on the banking sector. Plus, private sector credit fell significantly by 14.7% between January and September despite growth in loans and advances. We've got details coming up. Do stay with us. Welcome back to the program. We've got some exciting news to begin with. Ghana will be amongst the 10 fastest growing economies in the world this year. That's according to the latest analytical report of economies around the world by Bloomberg. George Rafe has more.
According to Bloomberg News Opinion Analysis Report, with the country's projected end-of-year economic growth of 1.3%, this would put Ghana into the rankings of top 10 fastest growing economies around the world for this year. The country in the global rankings was placed 8th, coming after the likes of Ethiopia, Uganda, Ivory Coast and Egypt. However, with the Bank of Ghana's latest focus of an end-of-year growth of 2.5%, that may even push Ghana into the third or fourth fastest-growing economy by the end of this year. Bloomberg in its analysis sought to establish how COVID-19 would impact on the growth of economies around the world for this year, especially African countries. It is in the report arguing that Ghana will be among 5 countries that will sustain this growth momentum for the next 3 years. The World Bank country director Pierre Laporte, in a recent interview with Joy Business, noted that despite COVID-19, Ghana will still end the year among the top best performing economies around the world. For some, this could signal more job openings or return to work for businesses that were forced to shut down because of COVID-19. Economic activities picking up could also impact positively on revenue mobilization, as well as attract more investment into the country and some prudent returns on existing manufacturing firms and enterprises in the country.
Well, still talking about the economy during this time of the COVID-19 pandemic, Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, has indicated his outfit is prepared to introduce fresh measures to help contain expected COVID-19 shocks on the banking sector. This follows concerns that the full effects of the pandemic are yet to be realized, as well as fears of a second wave. But speaking at the 2020 annual dinner of the Chartered Institute of Bankers, Dr. Addison said the central bank is in a better position now to deal with the new challenge.
The economic impact of the pandemic may, in the longer run, show up in a higher loan-performing loan and some capital erosion of banks. The Bank of Ghana is putting greater focus on identifying the early warning signals and initiate prompt corrective action. Looking ahead, the Bank of Ghana will continue to strengthen all the regulatory measures implemented over the last 3.5 years to maintain confidence and safeguard financial stability. In the aftermath of the pandemic, we will have to follow a careful unwinding of counter-cyclical measures that we have implemented and allow the financial system to function without the regulatory forbearance.
Alrighty, and so that was actually the voice of the governor of the central bank, Dr. Ernest Addison. He's also warning that rising budget deficit may threaten programs already implemented to stabilize the economy. So we still stay around this area, this time in the banking sector. Today has been the last day of work for Ghana's longest-serving managing director, at least in the banking sector, Alhassan Andani. He is one of the longest-serving managing directors. He's credited for transforming Stanbic Bank, a bank that had only 2 branches in 2005 to about 40, and making it a Tier 1 bank. His legacy will forever be remembered because of the significant impact he has made on the growth of the Pan-African Bank. Now, Communications Manager Kojo Labi tells Joy Business, Stanbic Bank Ghana's achievements cannot be written without Mr. Andani's influential and decisive role in its growth during the last 15 years. And that is quite some remarkable feat there. Let's turn to some news from the aviation sector. Aviation Minister Joseph Kofi Adda says reports of government handing over 5 aircraft to the ministry to commence the operations of a home-based carrier are false. The minister stated this in a statement that we're going to show you in a few seconds. I believe No agreement has been signed yet with the strategic partner Egypt Air so far identified. Negotiations with Egypt Air are at an advanced stage on a strategic partnership arrangement to relaunch a national flag carrier. And the statement says, disregard the false news that His Excellency the President will deliver 5 aircraft to the Ministry of Aviation today. That statement signed by the Minister of Aviation, Kofi Adda. In other news tonight, Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area, Wamkeli Mene, has described the trade pact as the fastest agreement to be adopted by member countries of the African continent. Now, according to him, the commitment shown by heads of state is an indication that the deal will work to the benefit of all. Wamkeli Mene was speaking at a cocktail ceremony organized by the CEOs Network of Ghana to discuss the opportunities available in the trade agreement. There's more in the following report.
With about 2 months to begin the implementation of the Continental Free Trade Area deal, many businesses in Ghana are gearing up to take up the opportunity of trading among their counterparts without trade barriers. The agreement is expected to give free market access to all member countries that have ratified so far and increase intra-Africa trade by more than 50% from its current 18%. Speaking as the guest of honor at the CEOs Network Cocktail Night, Secretary General of the Free Trade Area Secretariat, Wamkeli Mene, reiterated the commitment of the African Union to ensure that no member country is shortchanged in the deal. He described it as the fastest agreement to be adopted by Africa since the creation of the African Union.
The fastest ratification in the history of the African Union. And it signals that our heads of states, our governments, are very, very serious about boosting intra-Africa trade and are very, very serious about enhancing Africa's investment climate. At the moment, intra-Africa trade is very low. It is at 18%, and there's a range of reasons why it is so low. We trade amongst ourselves as Africans. We trade apples for apples. We do not trade value-added goods. We do not trade value-added production. We export primary commodities primarily to Europe.
Chief Executive of the CEOs Network, Ernest de Graft Ejiri, believes that CEOs in Ghana must come together to be able to have a better understanding of the concept for the Continental Free Trade Area.
Before 2021 sets in, we need to have a close conversation with him. So we decided to rather have it in an informal setting at today's cocktail. The after has prospects, and we only ask questions that with over 3.4 trillion of value creation, with intra-African trade targets of 50%, I think it's a good source for the private sector. So 150 CEOs selected. We've sat down with him, we've had a conversation with him, and we believe that we've had answers that we need, and that has really prepared the private sector CEOs in Ghana to take advantage of AFTA in 2021.
The event was also used as a platform for members to interact with the Secretary General for the first time since his appointment. Ebenezer Sabote's report for Joy Business.
So it's been a couple of weeks since traders at the Circle Pedestrian Mall lost millions of cedis to a fire outbreak that ravaged all the stores situated there. And yes, we know that government has committed to extending financial support to these traders through the National Board for Small-Scale Industries. But one question unanswered is why insurance companies don't venture into market centers during situations like this. So we put this question to the Deputy Commissioner of Insurance, Kofi Adda, and here's his response.
All that we have, currently there's something in the new insurance, but the law that we have now is restricted to private commercial buildings. Okay, so you're talking about shops, you're talking about shopping malls, you're talking about private commercial buildings. They are compelled to insure. The open market as at now are not compelled, but it is advisable for them because you see, when disaster strikes, it is easier for the rich man to bounce back because he's rich. But the poor man is difficult for him because probably that will be all that he has. So I think that we even though the law doesn't compel, it is important that we encourage and motivate people. This whole education is to make it easy for people to voluntarily buy insurance. You know, when you force people to do this, they may be doing it just because you are forcing them. When people understand and they value something and they buy it, that is real value. They are buying it because they need it and they are going to use it. And that is mainly the objective of this education.
Okay, so do we need to change the laws?
I think it is more important to educate the people to understand why they need to manage their risks and voluntarily go out there and look for insurance that can protect them than to force people to do it. Sometimes they don't understand because they must buy. Sometimes the policeman comes there and says, let me see your insurance, and they are arrested because people don't understand. They don't know why they must buy it. But I believe that if we do this education to the level where people know what they can get out of it, it will give us a much better outcome than compelling people to do it. I'm not saying that that is a bad idea, but I think educating people to understand why they must buy insurance is a better option.
Just a situation with market centers. Generally, insurance penetration is very low. And the incoming president of the Chartered Insurance Institute of Ghana, Teria Ben Ahmed, says insurance coverage, which presently stands at 1%, demands an immediate action plan to grow it. According to him, the National Insurance Commission, in collaboration with industry stakeholders, is working together to increase insurance penetration. He spoke to Joy Business at the Chartered Insurance Institute of Ghana Awards.
Penetration in Ghana as of today, if you look at it from the NIC annual report of 2019, it's approximately 1%, and 1% is not what we want to have. But it's important to just give you some other aspect of this conversation as well. It will interest you to know that based on the same annual report of the NIC in the year 2019, non-life insurance companies or general insurance companies pay on a daily basis 1.4 million Ghana cedis in claims on a daily basis. And guess what? Life insurance companies pay on a daily basis 2.2 million Ghana cedis a day in claims. In as much as penetration is 1% and we want to see penetration grow, it is important for us to acknowledge the good work insurance is doing to the development of Ghana. I can confirm to you that the National Insurance Commission, in collaboration with industry stakeholders, are working strongly together to promote insurance penetration in Ghana. And the NIC, which is the insurance regulator, has set out to grow the insurance market from a current market value of 3.5 billion to a market size of 10 billion by 2024.
Meanwhile, the multimedia group won the CIG Insurance Media House of the Year award. Head of Joy Business, Udila Ntiamwa, who received the award on behalf of the organization, said the company has been very consistent in the area of insurance as it continues to play an important role in ensuring the public is educated on insurance-related issues.
I basically think that we've been very consistent when it comes to the area of insurance. Several media houses don't have insurance correspondents. We've also dedicated a couple of times on our airwaves opportunities for the insurance industry to really come and educate the public when it comes to insurance related issues. We've been very consistent on the recapitalization of the insurance industry, and we look forward to the final things being done when it comes to that. Insurance penetration has also been very small, and so through several forms of education that we have done, our expectation is that this should go down well with people and people should consume insurance. So I think in a nutshell, we've done some good education when it comes to insurance, and this has been spearheaded by Bismarck Ewusa from the Joy Business team, and of course others who have also interviewed various industry players on various programs, especially in the area of business programming.
You're watching Business Live. We want to take you next to the Ashanti region. A story unfolding there. Clients of Gold Coast Fund Management, now Black Shield, are kicking against a decision to repay their locked-up investment in shares rather than cash. The coalition of aggrieved customers is demanding full disclosure of share subscription and the agreement option from the Securities and Exchange Commission. Nanaya Aljima filed this report from Kumasi.
A statement from the Commission indicated an authorized partial bailout of 50,000 cedis to all customers pending the outcome of a court action. But the coalition of aggrieved customers of Gold Coast Fund Management has concerns. The group says an online process for payment of funds compelled depositors to sign a share subscription and assignment agreement with the Amalgamated Mutual Fund PLC. Leader of the group, Charles Nyame, explains the terms and conditions to the agreement.
In effect, the SEC is seeking to convert our cash claim into shares in Amalgamated Mutual Fund. Yet, the SEC has been entirely silent on these requirements of the processes and have failed to educate affected customers of the meaning and implications of this agreement with the Amalgamated Mutual Fund. Unfortunately, the SEC have failed to respond to all attempts by the leadership of this coalition to engage them on this and other equally important matters relating to the announced government bailout program.
The customers are demanding the government adopt the same method used in payment of affected customers in the banking and savings and loans sectors.
We wish to urge government and the SEC to expedite work on the payment process to ensure that customers are paid by December 3rd, 2020. It is also worrying to note that as at the time of issuing this press release, over 50% of customers are yet to receive the initial text message to allow them commence the payment process.
Operation 1 is to Operation 1 is to The mantra here is 1:5, meaning each of the affected customers and their family members, at least 4 other family members, will vote against the president if he should refuse to pay them before the 7th of December. From Kumasi for JoyNews, Nana Ojima reporting.
And the elections are just a few days away. Now, let's move on to another story on the lighter side. Now, if you're a lover of spirits, this will ginger you up. As part of Guinness Ghana's ambition to make the favorite Johnnie Walker whiskey available to all consumers and the retail dealers, the first house of Walker has opened in Accra. The facility will be used by customers of Guinness and consumers of the Scotch whiskey to learn more about the product and its qualities. This is part of the 200th year celebration of Johnnie Walker since its introduction. Here's a report.
According to Guinness Ghana, visitors can walk into the store to learn more about Johnnie Walker and purchase Johnnie Walker limited edition icons and gift packs. They are also guided tours around House of Johnnie Walker, ranging from the incredibly interactive Flavor Academy and Heritage Room to Bar 200, where consumers can enjoy Johnnie Walker in a new range of single malts. Here's a marketing manager in charge of spirits category at Guinness Ghana, Lebogang Mohale.
Overall, Johnnie Walker's been on a journey for 200 years. And, it's all really been about how do we break down the barriers, that people have about Scotch whiskey. How do we really make sure that even us as a brand, we're able to kind of push boundaries, be a little bit more bold, be more disruptive. When we talk about wanting to make Johnnie Walker the most iconic and the most talked about brand in Ghana, we're not going to do that by playing small, right? We need to be bold, we need to take risks. And really, House of Walker has been like an incredible partnership. I call it like a labor of love, right? Because I love this brand, and it's been a labor of love for us to get to this point. And more than anything, we want to take Accra to the world, right? Something like this has never been done before. How do we really put ourselves on the map to kind of say, well, you know what? Here we are. In Ghana, we can do this. We believe it. We love Johnnie Walker. It's the #1 Scotch whiskey in Ghana. Why not? What a better way to say happy birthday, celebrate 200 years than with something like this. So we're really excited about that.
Lebogang Mohale has also been speaking about how the COVID-19 pandemic is changing the sales dynamics of the company.
Ghanaians are resilient, right? Guinness Ghana as a business is resilient. I think as a country we should all be proud about the way that we've handled COVID-19. And, you know, I think across the board, businesses have suffered, but I think our resilience is the most important thing. And as, you know, things have kind of slowed down, as restrictions were eased, you know, the biggest thing for us as a business is ensuring, you know, a quality reputation. We talk about wanting to be known as the best performing, most trusted consumer goods company in Ghana. And so we take directive from the government and have agreed with all the measures that they have put in place. So, you know, now is the time to reconstruct. Now is the time to rebuild. And really that's where our focus is. And we've got a couple of programs in place where we're really wanting to be supporting our customers, supporting bartenders, supporting on-trade accounts kind of reopen within a safe environment. So that's really has been important for us, and that's what we're focusing on.
House of Walker Accra is open to the public free of charge from the 1st of December and will operate for the entire month.
Interesting stuff. We are watching Business Live. One important story we need to bring you tonight, it was actually in our headlines. Private sector credit fell significantly by 14.7% between January and September. That's according to the Bank of Ghana's latest statistical bulletin on developments in the monetary economy. Joining me via phone is Charles Nixon, his editor at Joy Business. He's been reading through that report by the Bank of Ghana, and it's great to have you on the program tonight, Charles. Interesting to note that 23 banks had to review their credit policy because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Tell us more about what the report says.
Well, basically, we all know that banks really prioritize risk, and risk is very central to bank operations. And during situations like pandemics, banks quickly would have to look at their credit policy in order to safeguard depositors' funds. And during the period of COVID-19, particularly the epic period, most banks suspended or deferred their lending to customers, and the hardest hit sector was the private sector. You know, banks would always look at areas where they could make enough income, but with COVID-19 lurking around or COVID-19 persistent, they had to review their credit policy. So clearly, we were not so surprised in terms of the decline in credit or loan advancement to the private sector. Indeed, it was expected, and banks had to be prudent in lending around that time. What they could have done most was lending to the public sector, i.e. Government businesses. So in that case, it went up quite well. On a whole, total loans and advancement grew by 2.6 billion cedis to 47.4 billion cedis between January and October this year. And we all know that before the COVID hit the nation, between January and March, credit or loan advancement to consumers was quite significant. And even after the easing of further restrictions in the economy, we saw some level of significant lending. So going forward to the rest of the year, we expect that loans and advancement will be quite significant, but not as to the kind of, growth that we anticipate. We're anticipating quite significant growth, more especially after banks have shored up their stated capital. When you have a lot of liquid funds available, you need to lend in order to gain more returns than pushing most of them into government securities. Government securities will give you quite substantial return, but loans and advancement gives you more return. However, because of COVID, most of the banks had to be careful in terms of lending in order not to create higher impairment or non-performing loans on their books. Darrow.
Thanks very much, Charles Nixon Obuathe, with that update for us. We appreciate it. Before we go, it's very important that you listen to these financial tips because of what we've been discussing. Very uncertain time. Here's Money Lab tonight.
On Money Lab today, we want to get into understanding investment products. It's important to understand your investment products so you know where you are putting your money and why you are putting the money there and the kind of returns you must expect when you do. Now, in the investment world, we have short, medium, and long-term durations, and the products mimic the durations. So products that fall in the short term, which is a year or less, include treasury bills, fixed income instruments, and treasury notes. Treasury bill is simply an investment instrument that is called a debt instrument. You lend to government and the government pays you a return. It is usually a return that is above slightly inflation. The medium-term products include mutual funds, which are funds that are collective pools of contributions that invest in a number of instruments. They also pay above the treasury bills. And then ultimately long-term, which are shares, equities, or stocks. They are also listed on the stock market and they pay capital gains and dividends.
And that's our program tonight. Thanks for watching. We leave you with a quick take.
Learn to operate the refinery as an economic entity. Delink the refinery from the unnecessary politicking. Ensure that input and output are commensurate.
He got over 2 million barrels from Ghana field to Tor. And if you go now, Tor guys are placing that guy. Even that within that period, they are placing after how many MDs have they changed? It is just that our interest has overcome the national interest.